morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, July 16th, and today we will cover the trades for YieldMax funds, TSLY, CONY, Nvidia, Misty, SMCI, and PLTY. But before we get to that, let's just take a look at the pre-market and see how we doing. It says as of 5:16 a.m., a little late start, later than I wanted to. Tesla is showing that it's down 0.42%. TSLY is also down 0.13%. Nvidia is down 0.79%. Nvidia is down 0.39%. Coin is up 0.65%. CONY is up 0.61%. MSTR, wow, it's up 1.57%. And Misty is up 1.12%. TSLY is down 0.81%. TNA is up 0.09%. And Bitcoin, wow, it's coming back up. It's up 2.23%, 119,000. BitX is up 4.16%. Suxul is down 3.74%. SMCI is down 0.6%. SMCY is not updated. Palantir is down 0.3%. PLTY is down 0.23%. And youre is down 0.17%. And TQQQ is down 0.73%. So nothing too exciting there. Little up, a little down, all around, whatever. All right, so nothing that tells us really anything as we head into the trades right now. All right, so who had trades yesterday? I mean, a lot of people, right? AMD, Babo, Chippity, Doodah, but who we here for? Yeah, we're here for Misty Mafia. Here we go. By the way, I did put in for or set up or created a Misty Mafia magnet. It is on the store. If I remember, I'll put it to this video so it like pops up or whatever. But I asked YieldMax and it said it was okay if I used the Misty. But anyway, if you guys want that magnet, you could throw it on your car and represent the Misty Mafia. Of course, it says retire on dividends too. So obviously, you know, cheap plug right there, right? Anyway, I didn't make it. But anyway, what do we got? By the close. Okay, so what they do, they closed out, you know, some calls and they opened new ones, right? But, you know, you could see kind of the strike price situation, the 440 up there. Again, I don't know. This is the versus the closing price of 442. But, you know, they took a hit on that. They did close out some of the synthetic, which, yes, they did make bank, bro. They sold call 15.7 mil they made, and they had to pay, what, only 3.5 to close out the put. They did not add to new, but as you've been seeing, people have been selling out of Misty, you know, little by little. Only the past 3 days, obviously, I'm sure that won't last, but, you know, that's why they did not add to the new synthetic, at least to my knowledge. And then a whole bunch of closures here, and, you know, some reopened, some doesn't look like they did, but anyway, let's look at the file and then we'll go from there. Sound good? Great. Wonderful. Not like you have a choice. All right, so they have 5 synthetics. I think we know that. You know, it's exhausting, right? Having 5 synthetic positions, but I'm just going to go where they had the trades. I think they closed one of the 390s, right? What was yesterday's date? I don't even remember. I think the 15th, right? If my watch would freaking like update when I move my hand. It doesn't do that anymore. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, 2,000 contracts they closed out. And as we said, you know, baby bank brah. They made about, what, 12.22 mil. So that's pretty good. Again, what looks to be like a forced closure. But yeah, so that, again, that'll be added into payment 10 here. So we can see, obviously, the previous activity on the synthetic. All right, so again, I'm not going to go through the other synthetics. We'll show them kind of on the holdings tab, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get to the weeklies tab and see how we doing. Yesterday, freaking busy day at work, man. Oh my God, didn't even get to look at the freaking stock market. MSTR, they went down 1.93%. MSTY went down 0.84%. So, we did mention this yesterday, and now that I'm talking about it, I kind of forgot what I did on the holdings tab. But obviously, if we did say if MSTR went down, right, Misty would, it would do much better. And it's true. It did much better than MSTR. Why? Because it's now cheaper to close out the calls. So obviously MSTR went down 1.93. Misty went down 0.84, right? Which is not even half, right? Not even half. So again, it's good to see those days. The IV, it was at 53 yesterday. Now, unfortunately, it went down another 2 points. It's at 51. All right, so let's take a look at the trade, see what they closed, see what the damage was. Again, we got blown through a lot of these strike prices, so we took the hit. You could see MSTR price, man, it's at 442. It doesn't look like it's really coming back down, though, so that's kind of probably why, they're closing some of these out. They closed out the 430, the 427.50 on the top here, and they lost about, 6 mil or so on those calls. And then you go over here, and they closed out, 2 440s. In the end, there was a loss of about, 5.6 mil on that one. Again, why? Well, again, how much is MSTR? It's at 442, which is actually not that bad. But maybe it did come down more towards the end of the day. Again, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to look. But here's a 435. Obviously, it blew through that. A 437.50, a 435, so obviously all of these strikes look, going to be losses. They lost 3.4 mil, 4.5 there, 3.2 there, 3.3 there. And then you get to these. What are these strikes? They're all 435. So they lost 6 mil, 6.5 mil, 6.5 mil, and another 5.9 mil. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't win them all. And, for the weeklies, the total, this 4-week cycle, we got blown through, man. We're in the middle of a kind of a Bitcoin freaking run up, and, it's nearly impossible to, keep these strikes below, the run up, because the IV doesn't even support the run up. Like, the IV should be higher in my eyes, but what the hell do I know? All right, outstanding shares, again, another decrease. We talked about this. It decreased of 1.5 mil, which is actually only 0.6% of the fund. All right, recap on the weeklies. Oh my God, my back is killing me. Oh, yeah, well, again, you guys know from the keyword yesterday, all-day meeting, and it's just so unnatural to freaking sit for this long. Oh my God, now, yeah. I know, I'm complaining a lot lately. I'll stop. Let me just take a sip of water so we can get moving. But yeah, professional sitter, that's what I say. All right, Misty, it closed at 22.40. MSTR closed at 442.31. 30-day IV, 51%. Outstanding shares, 253 mil. Again, total net income, unfortunately, it's a loss of 165 mil. Why? Well, they got blown through. All right, so MSTR, they went down, as we said, 1.93%. MSTY, again, went down 0.84. Winter went up, as expected. It went up 1.18, so again, working as intended, right? IMST went down 0.86%, so slightly worse than MSTY, but again, it whooped MSTR's ass, right? So, because they're kind of in the same situation as Misty, right? They were like, way in the money on their calls. And then we got MS2. They went down 1.67%, which, much worse than the others. But again, they had a really good day, I think, the other day, which was, unusual. But, hey, whatever. They're doing well. And yesterday was obviously their ex-dividend day, which is why you see the distro in there. Reaction, I mean, I couldn't really think of one except, Misty. It's just making money, man. It's just doing its thing. I know, yeah, we're losing money on the short calls, the weekly calls, right? But look at the synthetics as we look at the holdings. They're doing rather well. So whenever they cash them out, it'll be a pretty party. But again, there's no rush there. Group D declares in 14 days on July 30th. July, man, it's a busy, summertime, you figure should be not be a busy time, but oh my God, it's just, I mean, work-wise, I would, but it's just they schedule this shit during the summer. Synthetic income, 201 mil, which again, that's the recognized income. That doesn't not count what they did not touch, right? What sits on the holdings, that's not there. This is only what they closed out. So same thing with the weeklies, right? This is what they closed out. So that's a loss of 165 mil. So total net income is 35 mil, which comes to about 14 cents per share. So you run that in the Rodometer. Again, the weeklies are at a loss, so we can't really talk about how much we're going to get paid based on that. And the total net income only would come up to an 8% yield. Yeah, we're not getting that. So you got to reflect these two now. These are probably the closest to representing the next payment. In fact, these are probably the low and the high, if you ask me. 89 cents being the low. That's based simply on the IV of 52%. And then the high being 246, which is based on what? Gains, brah, as they say. So all that means it's the price change from the Monday of the new 4-week cycle, of course, adding back in the distribution because that gets subtracted out on the Thursday ex-dividend date. And then obviously getting that difference to current day. And it's gone up a lot. It's gone up to 143%. Well, annualized, right? But anyway, it's gone up $2.46 per share, which again, yeah, if they paid that out, annualized would be 143%. But that's doubtful they're going to pay that. Again, this is just giving you an idea of what to expect. I know the low and the high, that's a big gap, so it could be anything at this point. All right, so if we go to the Misty holdings, I forgot I did update this. Yeah, so it's kind of misaligned here. Damn. All right, I just wanted to look at what was the 440 yesterday. Do I have that on here? Let's see. Yeah. So see this 440? I just want to look at this. I didn't get to look at this. So yesterday it cost $16.98 per share. I'm going to click it. So you see that? $16.98 per share. Let me see if we had the same number of contracts on the 440. Probably not. Yeah, they closed out some. So look what it cost today. Not today, but as of close yesterday, $10.30. So you get what I'm saying? The day before, where the hell did it go? Oh my God. What is the 440? What the frick? The hell is that thing? Freaking moth? Oh my God. Get the hell out of here. Jesus. All right, sorry about that. You get some weird crap in the garage. But anyway, real quick, the 440, the different number of contracts, so I can't look at the market value for you, but look, $16.98 per share to close the position as of the day prior. Since MSTR went down, now you go to the 440 over here, right? You find the 440. And it cost a lot cheaper. It cost now $10.30 per share to close out the position, right? I mean, if I look at one of the higher positions, well, actually, what was the highest position as of yesterday? I'll check that. The 460 was 16,000 contracts. Let's see if they kept those open. No, of course not. Do any of these have the same number of contracts? Okay, 2,500 on the 457.50. Okay, good. All right, here's a good example too. All right, so the 457.50, yesterday it cost $803, which per share to close, or $2 million. All right, see the negative $2 million? That gets subtracted from the total net asset value, the assets under management, the amount that calculates the NAV. All right, so the 457.50, let's see how much it cost to close as of yesterday's close. $390 per share or $975,000, so less than $1 million. So that's obviously why you see Misty beating MSTR. Again, I put this data over here yesterday. in order to show you kind of how, why do we keep seeing Misty beat MSTR when Mister goes down? And I just kind of, that's like just part of the equation there. So hopefully that helped. Again, sorry about the moth, gigantic moth, but like what? I mean, holy crap. But yeah, it didn't like, it didn't want me covering that. All right, so anyway, where do we stand heading into the rest of the week? Again, today being Wednesday, so we have 3 trading days left. And the lowest strike price is the only one in the money now. It's the 440. It's 0.52% in the money. The rest are out of the money. So anywhere from 445 to 465, which is 0.61%, all the way up to 5.13% out of the money. So they are pretty much scattered-doo. All right, I was able to do it. I know my voice is not quite 100%, but I think it sounds normal. So I'm a little less annoying for you guys to listen to, hopefully. All right, so here's all the synthetics. Again, they got 5, and they're all doing well, man. They're all whooping ass. But they all expire, not even in this month. There's 2 that expire next month, and then 3 that expire the following. So, yeah, man, look out for that. It's going to be bank bra. But if you're wondering what they're worth, here they are, man. 5 cents, 74 cents, 30 cents. 163 and 3 cents. Bank bra. So again, but they don't have to cash these out. They can. They don't have to. But so again, these are just chilling, killing, like Scary Movie. Anyway, the value of the Misty fund is 5.6 bill. The NAV is 22.37. Trade price 22.40. Synthetic contracts on paper. On paper? No, yeah, on paper. Anyway, there's 128,415. All right, at least that's what it says. That's what I calculated. Now, how many of them are they selling calls on? 102,000. So they're selling calls on a little less than 80%. So they have 20% that they can capture the full upside at this point. So if MSTR goes up today, 20%, we don't have to worry about the damn covered calls, right? Isn't that wonderful? But the other 80%, yeah, we got to keep an eye, man. Are we going to stay under our strikes? I mean, who the hell knows? But that's why we're here. We'll keep an eye and we'll talk about it every day because that's what we do. Anyway, that's the coverage on Misty. IMST, what are they left with? Again, they're kind of doing the same thing, but they sell calls. They can go further out, dated. They're like the whatever fund, right? So they got these synthetic for 40, just chilling. And then they're selling calls in red. These expire this week. 2 of them are in the money, and 1 of them is out of the money. The 445 is out of the money. So we'll see what happens with that, if they do anything with it. I'm not sure. Again, we don't see the intraday trades for them, so I'm not sure how active they actually are. But of their synthetics, they're selling calls on 63%. They're an $83 million fund, and their NAV is 55.04. Trade price around the same, and their next declaration date is, I believe is that next week? But it's July 24th, so stay tuned for that. Now, again, I'm covering MS2 as well, and they're selling a put, man. They threw a put in there. Not sure what they're doing. There's, they got a buy, call, sell, put, right? Did they, they do a synthetic, right? Wait, hold on. We got to revisit this because they, doing a buy, call, sell, put with their position. But obviously 360 on the synthetic side, and then they're selling covered calls with 50% of the fund. But brain fart here. But yeah, I do think they do some. But anyway, maybe I just don't. I'm trying to make it color coordinated and make this easy for you guys too. But as we go, but this expires 7. Everything that they have here expires 7/18. They're buy, call, sell, put, and they're selling calls, which are still out of the money. So they may actually come out of this week ahead. But MSTR is looking green in the pre-market. It's showing to be only a $12.9 million fund still. Their NAV is all screwed up. But again, I don't think their outstanding shares is updated on the website, so I can't really calculate that for you. But the yield, I think we talk about the yield? but it's showing based on the last payment, it's yielding 45%. All right, so that's the update on Misty and its friends, MST, I typically do on the weekend. So we'll go over that then. So now let's go to the others and then we'll get to my options and we'll call it a day, man. So TSLY did not have a trade. So obviously this is all in alphabetical order from the export. So there's SMCY and then straight to ULTI. So no TSLY for you, but we will cover and see how they doing, right? How are they doing? I don't know. Feel itchy, and not even because from the poison ivy, which by the way, oh my God. It's like never ending, but now I'm itchy because of the freaking bug central here lately. It's nice to have good weather, but obviously the bugs, you know, they come out more, they come to join the garage. For those of you that, you know, long-time listeners, you're probably waiting for Roddy the Cricket. He used to always join, man. My whole videos in the past, the whole video would have a cricket noise the whole time. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I kind of miss it. You know, it cracked me up, and I'm like, I used to try to like, you know, get him out of it, but it got to a point where we named the cricket and he was just a part of the equation, but he hasn't come back. So hopefully nothing bad happened to Roddy the Cricket. All right, anyway, how did Tesla do yesterday? They went down 1.97% and TSLY went down 1.17%. So again, when the underlying goes down, yes, typically the ETF will beat it, and that's proven right there, sucker. All right, let's look at their trades, assuming I updated. Yes, it looks like I did. Are they all out of the money? No, there's only one, though. The lowest strike price, 310. It's in the money, but only by 0.25%. And then the rest of them are anywhere from 2 to 5% out of the money. So not bad, not bad. Again, we got 3 trading days. We'll see how the week goes. The synthetic position that TSLY holds on TSLY, they have a 290 strike and a 295 strike. Tesla being at 310 price. Obviously, those synthetics look very valuable. If you go down here, you can see the synthetics netted together. They total 84 million, which is right there. And then you calculate that how much that's worth per share, and it comes to 55 cents. All right. The value of the TSLY fund is 1.1 billion. The NAV is 770. Trade price is exactly the same. So not bad. All right, let me get rid of this box here. 30-day IV of Tesla, 55%. IV estimate based on that, 33 cents. Income estimates in the negative, unfortunately. But again, they don't declare for another 21 days on August 6th. So we got time. Time is on our side. Yes, it is. Sorry, I had to test out the vocals there as my voice is recovering. All right. Nvidia, yes, they had trades. I'm itching my shoulder when I shouldn't. How does poison ivy get on the upper right back of your shoulder? Only me, man. Only me. Anyway, Nvidia by the close 536. Ooh, that don't look good. So that's a loss. It looks like they lost 5.7 mil closing out that trade. Because why? Because the strike price looks to be 167.50. Nvidia closed at 170, which is obviously above the strike price. Again, we don't know what the price was of Nvidia when they closed it, but obviously, you know, probably above the 167.50. So that was tough one to eat. And there's a buy to close here. Same strike, 167.50. They ate 7.5 mil. Then they open new positions for next week, but we'll take a look at that not next week. I'm sorry, this week. But we'll take a look at that in the file. Overall for the day, it was a realized loss of 8.6 mil. All right, so let's go to the file. Like we said, Nvidia, how'd you do yesterday? I don't know if you guys remember. The pre-market was rather green, super green. Doesn't look like it did much beyond that, right? But Nvidia did go up 3.88%. Nvidia captured 2.64, which it's aight, but it's not 80%. It's 68% capture. So we'll have to, be okay with that. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. Now here's obviously they are kind of like their holdings are repositioned. Why? Well, look how it's sorted. The date. So in the date, the expiration date on one of the synthetics is the same date as the weekly covered calls. So that's why the synthetic you see is actually above some of the weekly calls because the strike price is so damn low. And the thing is going to make what? Bank, brah. Bank. That's why. But that's good, man. That's freaking good. You see that synthetic? You see it above the weekly calls? Oh, yeah. You know you getting paid. All right. So how the weekly's doing? Well, they got the 170. That's in the money, unfortunately. And then they got two more. That's 1% and 2% out of the money. But they got 3 trading days. So we'll see what happens. Again, let's look at the synthetics. Again, they got a big gap of 130 and then all the way up to 165. But both of them are doing well because Nvidia is at 170. All right. The value of the Nvidia, fund, the assets under management, or the AUM for short, AUM, is 1.8 billion. The NAV is 1776. The actual closing trading price 1777. Now, if you look at these synthetics on the paper, they are worth $262 million. Can you believe that? That comes to $248 per share as we speak. So again, that is the value of their synthetic position on paper. It just shows you how much Nvidia has gone up since they opened those positions. So Nvidia is having a good run, man. 30-day IV of Nvidia is 35%. IV estimate of Nvidia is 49 cents. But their income estimate is 85 cents. 61% yield. Group B declares when? Well, today, and then 28 days later, which is August 13th. Again, as this video is coming out, they're probably declaring, unless, of course, my video takes 2 hours and 30 minutes like yesterday to upload. Hopefully it doesn't, man. But sometimes, it happens. I mean, there's nothing I could do. If the video don't work today, I just got to trust that it will work at some point. Because again, as soon as I start my day, what's the keyword? All day meeting, unfortunately. So I can't even, I can't do anything on the phone. Don't get me started. I'm trying to be positive here. No complaining. All right. Anyway, let's go to CONY and we'll talk about CONY. All right, so CONY, how you doing? Let's see, CONY, how you doing? No, how you doing? No, how you doing? All right, anyway, Chippity Doodah had to trade, and then Fiat had to trade. So there's no CONY, no cone heads. Sorry, CONY heads. Nah. All right, but we will go to the file and see what they're doing over here. Coin went down yesterday. They went down 1.54%, and yep, CONY beat it because CONY only went down 1.01%, so that's good. Good stuff. All right, so let's take a look at their covered calls for the week. I haven't even been looking at expiration dates. I probably should, right? But yeah, they're all 718. So are they in the money? Well, there's one in the money, 387.50. It seems like a lot of these are in the money, but again, that's good. The stock market's doing well. It's 0.13% in the money. The rest of them are out of the money, though. Anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6% out of the money. So that's not a bad spot. Again, 3 trading days because today's only Wednesday and they expire on this Friday, 4 p.m., right? Now, how's their synthetics doing? They got 2. They got a 330 and a 360. Coin is at 388. So they're doing well. They're worth a lot, The value of the CONY fund is 1.4 bill. The NAV is 988 and the trade price 987. Here's the synthetic value, the net, again, assuming I updated formulas, 146 mil. That comes to 99 cents per share. It doesn't seem like a lot, but again, CONY is under 10 bucks. They're a single digit fund. So making 99 cents on a synthetic, yeah, man, that's pretty nice. All right, their 30-day IV of coin is 67%. IV estimate based on that is 52 cents. The income estimate is 64 cents. That is an 83% yield. Now, Group C, when did they declare? Not today, because that's Group B, but they declare next week, 7 days away on July 23rd. But before I forget, if there's any new viewers, any new subscribers, and I'm covering something that maybe is over your head or you don't quite get, and you want me to cover it in a little more detail during the video, please type in the comments, video question, and then type me the question. And then I will try and take a look and then cover it on either the following video or whatever video after. All right? Because again, I know there's new subscribers all the time, and I don't know, their full understanding of these funds. So sometimes I may go a little too quick, and I understand that. But I just want to give you guys the opportunity to, speak out, let me know what you're confused on, what you want me to cover in more detail. And I'll do that. Yep, that was a water bottle. All right, so what are we doing? SMCY, buy, call, sell, put. All right. So they're adding synthetics and they're adding covered calls. So it looks like new money coming into SMCY. So SMCY suckers, yeah, we growing. All right, buy to close, 51. Strike, yikes. So it looks like they lost that trade. And why? Well, SMCI is at 53. It's slightly above the 51. And then there's another buy to close. The close now at another 51. So yeah, it looks like another loss on that trade. Then they open new positions, which will, are for this week. But we'll take a look at the file. Overall, the SMCI suckers had a realized loss of 6.1 mil. All right, let's go to the file. Okay, here it is. SMCI, they went, wow. Damn, they went up 6.47%. SMCY, man, this sucks. SMCI suckers. We pissed SMCI suckers. They only went up 3.66%. That's a 56% capture. What kind of capture do we want? We want, and at least in my eyes, is an 80% capture, I think is reasonable to expect, right? What do you think? What do you think about that? Anyway, SMCY, how's the rest of their trades doing? Looks like they closed out the 51 completely. Now they're left with the 52, which is still in the money. It's 2.2% in the money, but then they have two more, 54 and a 55. That's 1 and 3% out of the money. But again, we got 3 trading days. We'll see how it plays out. They only have 1 synthetic position. That's a strike of 45, but wow, they're at 53 now, which is awesome. All right, the value of the SMCI fund is 328 million. The NAV is 2108 to trade price 2104. Synthetic value is 51 million net on paper. Again, on paper, this is what they didn't close yet. And that is worth $3.29 per share. That's a lot of money on a $20 fund. All right, so that's good. That's bank bra coming up. 30-day IV, 77%. IV estimate based on that, $1.26. Income estimate, unfortunately, showing negative 26 cents. But whatever, man. Group D declares in 14 days. We'll see how things go. They declare on July 30th. When does this synthetic expire? Okay, it expires in August, so no rush on that. I was wondering if it expired at the end of this week, but nope. Nopers. All right, last but not least, on the YieldMax side of things, P to the L to the T to the Y, or as some know it, the PLTY posse in the house. Did they have trades? Yes, they did. They had 4. So you see here a buy to close. They paid $509 to close the 146, and it looks like Palantir was above the 146, so it cost a pretty penny to close out that position. 9 mil. All right. So they got blown through. It is what it is. But they did sell a call. They had a covered call, credit call spread attached to it, right? And that helped out. It offset 3 mil. So that's good. And then they opened a new position, yes, for this week with a strike price. They moved that strike price up. They moved it up 2.64%, at least as of now it is. And then, we'll see how that plays out. So let's go to the file. All right, PLTY, how you doing? Well, Palantir, they went down 0.38%. PLTY went down 0.25%. Okay, nice, slow, boring day. We like boring, right? Boring. Options like boring. Let the time value go. All right, so these trades, again, if you go to the QSIP column, you could see like the expiration date. Everyone's always asking me, when do these expire? But if I don't mention it, it's typically always the next Friday. So these all expire the current, this next Friday. But yeah, they're selling calls. 2 of them are in the money. 147, 148 are in the money. The rest of them are out of the money. Anywhere from, well, not much, under 1% all the way up to 2.64%. But again, we'll see how the rest of the week goes. They have a synthetic, only one, a 140. Palantir's at 148. So, this synthetic is finally making some bank, making some bank. When will PLTY hit a bill? I mean, who knows? Right now, they're at 737 mil. The NAV sits at 68, trade price 68.40. You got to remember, man, this fund launched at $50. It's been in the 60s for quite some time, so it's doing really, really well. Synthetic on paper is worth about 48 million. The NAV on that is ridic at $4.51. But again, they're $68 funds. So you got to keep that in perspective when we look at how much they're making per share. All right. I was wondering who the hell's pulling up. It's Amazon. Of course it's Amazon. You know, why wouldn't it be Amazon? All right, let me get moving. 30-day IV of Palantir, 68% IV. Estimate based on that, 359. Income estimate. Either I didn't update it or it's zero. But Group B declares in 28 days. Yeah, I didn't update it because they had a refresh on the Monday, starting a new cycle. And by now, obviously, you know what PLTY paid. And like I said, I'm going to be in the meeting all day. I'm not going to be able to tell you guys or announce or do any of that for the distributions. I'll have to update that tonight, which hopefully I can get out of there and get home before 6:30. I don't even know, man. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes today. All right, so that's the update on all the YieldMax funds that I cover. And yes, I know a lot of you are asking for HOI, which, I don't know, man. I'll just say I don't know for now. I want to, believe me, I want to. We'll get there. We'll get there. I do. How big is the HOI fund? Actually, I'm just curious now that we're talking about it. Because I'm a Robinhood fan, man. I am. So the value, 101 mil. Okay, so yeah, so they're growing pretty fast. Actually, I think I still have the same synthetics highlighted. Let's see. Yeah, so they're synthetic on paper, man, worth $12.09. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Your HOI distribution. What is HOI price at? Good God, $72. For anyone that bought HOI in the 50s, great job. That's a hell of a freaking time, man, to buy that. They launched at a great time. But this looks to be like a really fun fund. I don't know why didn't I add IV here? I should add IV. 30-day IV. I might as well at this point. But anyway, we're done. So that's the YieldMax coverage. I'm going to get into my options trades. But to be honest, guys, I didn't get any options trades. I didn't have time. Like I said, it was a freaking meeting day, all day meeting. And I didn't, there's no breaks. Like they're literally minimal breaks, which is, like I said, don't get me started. I don't know why I'm talking about it again. But here's the TSLL trades. These are just chilling. They're hanging. Some of the ones that expire this week. What is TSLL? It's at 11. So I have a $13 call expiring this week. That's still 17% out of the money. And then if I go down below, what else do I got expiring this week? I have a $12.50 call. That's still 12% out of the money. So those look to be safe. Again, I got 4 calls open. If you go down here, I should show 4. I didn't update that. No, I didn't. Good job. Good job, buddy. All right, so I have 400 covered. I should update that, obviously. Okay, so yeah, I own 700 shares of TSLL. Right now, I have 400 of them with covered calls, so 300 I can sell covered calls on. Again, I'm not going to be able to get to any trades today, which is why I did aggressive trades earlier in the week to make some money. And a lot of my trades do expire next week, actually. So, again, I only have 2 expiring this week on TSLL. TNA, more of the same. No trades yesterday. What do I got expiring this week? Well, I got 2 calls, one a 37. No, how many calls? Yeah, for this week, I only have 2 calls. Okay. One is a 37, one is a 39. And those right now, they're 6 and 12% out of the money. So those look to be safe. Even my 35, which I had to go out to 815 on that one. I didn't have to, but I did. And that's out of the money now. That's 0.81% out of the money. I guess TNA has been coming back down. How's my put doing? My put expires this week. That's a 34. That's only 2% out of the money, so that could be in danger as we approach this Friday. But man, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll stay tuned for that. Misty's coming up. So like I said, I own 500 shares. My lowest cost basis on an individual share count is 23. So my lowest was 23. So I would sell a call at 23. I got no issue with that. So Misty being at $22.40, a $23 call, is probably worth it right now, to be honest. So I didn't, if I get a chance, hopefully Misty's still up by Friday. I'll take a look. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Again, it's tough because you don't want to lose your Misty shares, but at the same time, I don't want them sitting there. If they can make money sitting there, then I'll have them make money, right? Obviously, TSLY and TNA is different. They do pay a distribution, but it's not crap. It's not. But Misty's distro, man, that's something, that yields what I need. Well over 50% most of the time, which is obviously my goal. All right, so weekly income wise, again, I need $341 for this week. And you could see right now I'm at what? I'm sorry, I need $389 for this week. You could see I'm at $341. So I need $47 to hit my goal for this week, which obviously it's very doable. I'm not going to have time today or probably tomorrow. But again, Friday, hopefully at lunchtime or something, I can get one in. And we'll hit our quota for the week. All right, sound good? All right, so yeah, that's an update on everything. That's the update on YieldMax, and that's the update on my options trades. If you guys have any questions for the comments, you just ask the question in the comments. Questions for the video, you just you type in video question, and then you type the question, and that's it. All right. So as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, we'll try again tomorrow. All right, tomorrow. I promise, man. I promise. I'll have my voice 100% back by then. Damn right. But anyway, what else? If you guys enjoy this content, please hit the like button. Like I said, I already talked about the questions. So that being said, we're at the end of the video. So if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it. Sorry, I had to smack my face to start waking up. Whew. Got to sit in a chair from 8:30 to 5 today. Very uncomfortable chair. I said I wouldn't bitch. All I'm doing is bitching. I got to stop. Someone told me the other day, stop talking about your job. Someone's going to be listening. I'm like, yeah, but who cares, right? Who gives a crap? I'm not telling you guys, well, you kind of know what I do, but you kind of don't. I would never say where I work, right? But you guys, obviously, everyone, some of you are in the same boat, right? Similar job, or corporate America, man. Sometimes, it is what it is, which, I'll get into that in more detail in another video. But yeah, I just can't sit for that long and pay attention. I'm just not that, I don't know. I'm hyper. Like I can't sit for that. I can't do it. And then my mind just goes 20 different directions. I'm thinking about all these different things. So yeah, I am not a good school kid. I am not, and my son is not either. And I'm to blame on that one. But who is, man? Who can sit for that long and just listen? No, not me. That's not me, man. And again, this is not, like I said, this is not the dream. Like, yeah, you do good, you make good money. But this is not like, really? This is like the American dream? No, it's not. Not for me, man. But anyway, the American dream is having time, right? It's time to do what you want. More time to do what you want. But I'll end it there. And maybe time is going to be the key word, right? Because that's what's most important, right? We don't do this to be, some of us want to be rich, of course. But, why would you want to retire? To have more time for yourself. To have more time to spend with your family, with your friends, right? That's what it's all about. So again, we'll go back to the reason these funds are wonderful is because they allow people to have the financial freedom, which allows them what? Time. As we say, time is on my side. Yes, it is. All right. So that being said, if you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, just type in time, baby. That's it, time. Or you could type in a nice little emoji clock, all right? I think that's even better. But I got to go. I got to get my ass moving. I got to get my ass to work so I can sit in a seat for 8.5 hours, right? And listen to people talk about how awesome they are. All right. I'm out of here, guys. I hope everyone has a great day. All right. But we'll talk tomorrow. Sound good? All right. Awesome. Later. No car video today. I can't do it. Sorry. Later.